Atari, Amiga, CDi, ColecoVision, Intellivision, Sega, Neo Geo, TurboGrafx 16, Odyssey, 3DO, Commodore, Nintendo, nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
These games are notorious for their legendary ass suckage, which is hard to believe. How could there exist a bad Zelda game, let alone 3 of them, and on a console that's not Nintendo? Well, if you haven't heard of them, you might think you're living under a rock, but let me tell you, it's a rock worth living under.
I got this big beast. Look how huge it is. It looks like one of those old VCRs. It is the biggest video game console I've ever seen. Literally, you can fit 2 of these inside it. If you remember my Atari 5200 video where I commented how big it was, well, both consoles are ridiculously huge, but the CDi just barely wins. But does it work? Yes, it does. But at first, I thought the controller input was broken. I have 4 different controllers, and none of them worked, except for the wireless one, which sucks so bad it isn't even worth it. Then I found out that there's another input on the back. So the one in the front is either broken or intended for the second player. This means that every time I want to swap a controller, I have to pull out the whole console. Let's talk about the controllers. One is your average regular ass controller. The next one looks like a spoon. I really don't understand it. And this one has this awkward joystick. It's so stiff. It's basically just a stick on top of a regular D-pad. Then you have the wireless one. This is the standard controller that comes with the system. But as I've said, it's terrible. Your finger keeps slipping off the joystick and the buttons are too close. Imagine if you were trying to play Nintendo 64 and all the buttons were clustered around the joystick.
It's time to play the Zelda CDi games. Now the first 2, Link the Faces of Evil and Zelda Wand of Gamelon, were both released on the same day, October 10th, 1993. You can think of them as brother and sister game. I'm going to try out Wand of Gamelon first.
To begin with, I thought this might have been an interesting game because you actually play as Zelda, you know, the one who's in the title of every Zelda game. Let's talk about the controls. Regardless of which controller you have, it seems the CDi only uses 2 buttons. So to jump, you have to press up. Being that it's a platform game and a lot of the jumps have to be done with perfect accuracy, it wears on your thumb real fast. And sometimes when I'm trying to press left or right, I end up jumping by accident. The first button is the sword. The second button is everything else, opening doors, bringing up the status screen, and using an item. It's a fucking mess, and it causes nothing but problems. To bring up the status screen, you have to crouch down and hit the button. To begin with, that's a pain in the ass. But if you're in front of a door and push the button, you end up going through the door, regardless of whether you're standing or crouching. So if you want to bring up the status screen, you gotta stay away from the doors. Also, the status screen is the only way you can pause the game. Sometimes I forget or don't realize I'm in front of a door, so I try to bring up the status screen and then I get up to take a piss only to realize that I'm in another room getting my ass handed to me. The problem also works the other way around. If you're trying to go in the door, you have to be certain that you're standing right in the middle, or else you end up using your item. I've wasted so many bombs just trying to go in the damn doors. And you want to know what I fucking hate? To collect rupees or anything, you have to stop and hit them with your sword. And you can't be standing in front of them either. You have to be in the right position. There's no other way. You don't have to do that in any other Zelda game. You see a rupee, all you need to do is touch it. But in this piece of shit, every single rupee slows you down. Most of the time I ignore them, but as it turns out, you need rupees more than ever in this game. The lanterns are for lighting the dark areas, and let me tell you, this game got really carried away with this. It's common in Zelda games that there's always dark areas, usually in caves or dungeons in which you need to light the way. But in this game, it seems every fucking place you go it gets dark. Even in the treetops in broad daylight it happens. And the lantern only lasts for a few seconds, and then it goes dark again. Cut me a break. So you're constantly switching back to the status screen to keep selecting the lantern oil. And when it runs out, being stuck in the dark is absolutely miserable. You can't even see the fucking door to find your way back out. So finding the door in the dark is a bitch. But other times the problem is trying to get your ass away from the door. Watch this situation. I go in the door, it's dark, I need the lantern, so I crouch down and try to bring up the select screen, and I exit the door. What the fuck? So I go back in. This time I make more of an effort to step away from the door. I try the status screen again, and what happens? I go out the damn door again. So this time I go back in, I walk to the left, and finally I'm able to bring up the status screen and select the lantern. As the room illuminates, you can see how big that door was. Even if I know I'm about to step into a dark room and I select the lantern in advance, it still doesn't make a difference because if I try to use the lantern while I'm touching the door, I'll have the same problem. It would have really helped if all that shit didn't have to be the same button. I know I'm digging deeper and deeper into the same topic, but it really is a continuous problem. It can even get you killed. Say I go into a dark room, I step away from the door, and I fall. How was I supposed to know there was a crevice there? All because I can't use the lantern at the door. It's fucking bullshit!
It's time to start dropping some F-bombs! Fuck! 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 Fuck!
Attacking is awkward. It seems your sword never hits anything. Even if you just keep swatting at the air, your enemies always seem to hit you first. You can only hit what's directly in front of you, but it always seems enemies are coming from high above you or from too low. I swear that more than half the enemies in this game are too short to hit. You always have to be at the precise altitude. Look at this, I can't hit them below the branch, and I can't hit them when I'm on the branch. How do I hit this thing? As hard as it is to get close to your enemies, sometimes the problem is being too close. You fucking piece of shit, get off me! And there's no recovery time. They can drain all your energy in a second. Come on, jump over. Fuck, I can't believe that.
It's awful!
But as difficult as it can be to slay the regular enemies, the boss battles are ridiculously easy if you know what weapon to use. They only take one hit. When you kill them, you get these amusing cutscenes.
You've killed me!
Good.
And it's very surreal coming all this way to fight Ganon and then just throwing the wand of Gamelon at him. That's it. One hit, he's dead.
No! You haven't seen the last of me!
After you've killed them, they still have the nerve to have spikes falling from the ceiling. Wouldn't that be a shame to kill Ganon, only to have a spike drop on your head? Then you rescue the king and Link.
What happened?
Nothing, Link. We were just about to have a feast.
Great!
They all yuck it up, and everything's fine. It's time to wrap up this CDi shitfest. Let's take a look at the 2 remaining Zelda games. First, Link, The Faces of Evil. All the same problems I addressed in Zelda 1 and Gamelon are present here, so there's not much need to go into such detail again. It has the same style of gameplay and the same cheesy cutscenes.
Do you know what it means when you lose your last ruby? Now you work for me! Take him away!
You're doing great, Link. You are our hero.
Man, those fairies really like Link. And I hate collecting rubies. Oh, come on, you can't even get 2 at the same time? And the jumping is still a big problem. Come on, why can't I get up there? Oh, your mother. Oh, you son of a bitch. Get up there.
It's time to start dropping some F-bombs! Fuck! 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 Fuck!
Probably the worst example is right here. I'm trying to go in the door. Seems simple, right? But I can't approach the door from any conceivable angle. If I'm below the door, I can't reach it, at least not without a rope. Too bad I had to use them all in order to get this far. I can't approach it from the other side because the pillar's blocking me. This is the part I really don't understand. You can pass through the bottom of the pillar and you can pass through the 2 pillars before it, which look exactly the same. Why is it that I can't go through this one fucking part? It seems the only way I can make it is to drop down from the top, but I can't get back up there. I'm jumping everywhere. I obviously can't go back up, which is ironically the way I came, all because I missed the jump, which is hard to begin with because you're so close to the ceiling. The enemies, once again, are a pain in the ass. Half of them are impossible to hit. Look at this, I'm trying to go down, but the fucking warthogs are in my way. This would be so simple if you could just jump down.
Oh my goodness, this is awful!
Another nuisance is that I can't hit the Dodongos because the bombs just fly over them. If I could duck and throw the bomb, maybe I could hit him, but you can't do that because it activates the status screen. Yeah, you have to be standing to use your items. Alright, Ganon, here I come.
And I will make your face the greatest in Korodai, or else you will die.
All I need is just one shot with a book. Yeah, it's a book this time. Just one hit. Ah!
No,
That doesn't count?
not into the pit!
I still get the dramatic death scene, but I'm back outside the castle. Fuck. So I gotta go all the way through the castle again, and when I get there, thankfully Ganon's still dead. Then you gotta wake Zelda. Come on! I'm here to rescue your royal ass. Get the hell up! Wake the fuck up. Oh, I get it.
I just saved you from Ganon. I won.
Nothing short of poetry. Let's move on to the final piece of what's known as the Unholy Triforce. Zelda's Adventure was released the following year in 1994. Unlike the other two, this one doesn't have the cartoon cutscenes. Instead, it's digitized actors. Sometimes they don't even move, they just crossfade.
So I found this champion of strength and courage.
As the title would suggest, it's the only other game where you play as Zelda, going to save Link's ass once again. You have to find dungeons where in each one you collect a piece of a stone, much like pieces of the Triforce in the original Zelda game. So this one follows the classic format a little more, not to mention it's an overhead view. That means you don't have to do stupid shit like push up to jump and crouch to bring up the inventory screen. You can also touch the rupees and hearts without having to attack them. Of course, you do have to wait for them to touch the ground, which is confusing since it's overhead. It's better than the other two CDi games, but not by a whole lot. The most constant, annoying thing is waiting for the screen to load. Watch how long it takes. And you're probably thinking, oh, it can't do that every time. Oh yeah, it does. Imagine how long it takes you to get anywhere. Look at the original Zelda. Watch how quick it is. See? And that was on an old 8-bit console. Damn CD load time. Look at this. That's when you grab your beer. Oh look, we got a ladder. Remember that from the original Zelda? Remember how to use it? You just walk right across. Let's see how easy it is here. You come to a gap, you gotta go to your menu, select the ladder, and then use it. You always have to select shit. Take this for example. In any good Zelda game, how do you buy stuff? Like this. That's easy, right? Here, you gotta stop, bring up the menu, select the rupee, and there. What a bunch of fuck.
That was a wise picture, young princess.
And I gotta say, the menu screen sucks. First of all, you can only hold one item. That includes the sword or wand, whatever. In the other games, you always have the sword and can select an additional item. Of course, the CDi doesn't utilize as many buttons, so whenever you need to use something, you bring up the menu screen. The map screen is inside the item screen. Yeah, so whenever you want to see the map, you have to bring up the item screen, select the map, look at the map, go back to the item screen, and finally back to the game.
You know, playing these games is as worthwhile as melting a dog turd on a frying pan. Yeah, put some buffalo puke and some cat piss all over it, and you have a shit sandwich that is Zelda CDi. This game fucking sucks! Fucking sucks! Fucking sucks! Oh yeah, and the Mario game, that one sucks too! Ugh, CDi sucks!